So I'm never going to ask you to remember anything verbatim, word for word in this class. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier with the guiding questions, a lot of times it's better if you put it in your own words. But one thing we do need to keep in mind, both for the whole class and especially for part of your historical analysis next week, is what, according to historians and anthropologists, makes people civilized. It's not that they wear nice clothes, it's not that they treat each other nicely. Instead, it's really, here I've got 6 different features. Sometimes people disagree on one of those, but 6 different things that create civilization within a society. First and foremost, an urban focus. What does that mean? They live in cities. Not everybody lives in cities, but cities are the basis of that society. That tells us a lot. If you live in cities, you probably aren't a farmer. So instead of farming, you make your living doing something else. It also means you have to be reliant on people for your food to come from somewhere else. So that already tells us something about this group of people. All civilizations have some type of religious structure, and they vary from place to place, but think about what religion does. It answers the questions that you can't answer. Where do we come from? What happens after we die? Or in the ancient world, things like, why did it just flood? Why did that earthquake destroy our civilization? They can also answer the types of moral and philosophical questions you might get in your religion or your philosophy classes. Right? What is the good way to behave? How should society be put together? What's a good government? Linked to that, each of these civilizations have some type of clear political structure, some type of government. And more often than not in the ancient world, those are connected to military power too. And most of the early rulers we see are also generals, which kind of makes sense considering that a lot of these folks are relatively unstable. They're fighting for resources that other people want. So who do you want to lead you? The person that can protect you. If they aren't farming, at least not everybody's farming, that also means that there's some type of economy going on where people can exchange goods for other things that allow them to survive. So we've got some type of economy. The one that not always is included here, but I'm going to include, is the development of writing, which allows people to record things like law codes and statistics for taxes and religious stories and create a sense of identity. And finally, some type of artistic and intellectual activity that allows people to engage in jobs other than just the type of manual labor than their ancestors would have. So when I ask you next week, for example, hey, looking at the society that Uptanapishtim lives in the Epic of Gilgamesh, how do you know it's a civilization? You want to look for some type of evidence that tells you there's a city there. There's some type of religious structure. There's some type of government or military. There's some type of economy. There's some type of writing. There's people doing something other than farming or hunting and gathering. Okay, so you've got those down. Put them in a place where you can revisit them. Let's move on and let's think about the Neolithic Age. Let's engage a couple of more primary sources, and then we'll get into the civilizations we really want to cover this week.